Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the first ever 10th episode. That's right, double digits of Baseball versus the World, a podcast about how baseball relates to the world and how the rest of the world relates to baseball, part of the Just Baseball Media Network. I am, of course, your main host and guide on this maiden voyage through the vast cosmos of all things pertaining to baseball, Javier Reyes, also a staff writer at Just Baseball and a host of the Locked On Padres podcast, which is not part of Just Baseball. It is not. But it's still really cool, and I recommend everyone check it out. And today, I have another guest. As always, I only allow the best guests on my show. It was a proclamation that I made when I was first greenlit. When I tricked the fools, the cronies of Arm Layton and Peter Apple of Just Baseball into giving me this show.
So then why am I here, Javi?
If you're hearing that voice, that is Ty Dane Gonzalez, host of the Locked On Mariners podcast. So you guys might be able to figure out how I know him. So there's that. And just general Twitter Mariners legend, dare I say. Ty, sir, how are you doing?
I don't know if Mariners Twitter would consider me a Mariners Twitter legend, but you know what?
Does any team consider anyone of their place a Twitter legend? Right? I feel like you'll find everyone who hates like a me.
I feel like Yankees Twitter has like a couple legends, like a couple people they would consider legends.
Maybe.
But yeah, I think for the most part it's all interchangeable. Eventually, people get tired of it. Unfortunately, it's part of my job.
Yes, it is
on X.com. So
yes,
I'm not going anywhere anytime soon.
Absolutely.
Shout out to X.com. We had a lovely conversation about blue check marks before we hit record on this thing.
Yes, we did, and it will never see the light of day. But folks, what will see the light of day is we have takes galore. If you clicked on this episode, and if you know me, frankly, you're like, of course Javi did the video game thing. Of course he did. Well, guess what? Yeah, and I'm rocking my PlayStation shirt. Everybody go check out the show on YouTube as well. Follow the show at Baseball vs. World on Twitter and Instagram as well. We've posted a bunch of graphics and stuff. For today's episode, we're doing video games. And specifically, we are going to do a video game and or series that matches up with every Major League Baseball team. That's right. It's going to be very, very cool. I think that basically it's going to be a lot of takes. Some of these are going to be mean. Some of these, like I said, were series. Some of them are individual games. Both Ty and I have our different picks for each team. And some were based on, for me, some more long-term all-time history, while others more short-term history. Team like, let's say, the Houston Astros, just to give you guys a tease, will be based on short-term history in the grand scheme of things, is what I'm saying. Sure. Like not back in the 1900s or whatever. But that's another thing. So as well, we may speak about not just the vibe and maybe characters of a specific game or series, but also we might talk about the plot and stuff like that. So if you hear a game on here that is brought up and you're worried, we'll try not to be too spoilerific. We'll try.
Yeah.
We'll try.
I don't have any spoilers in mine.
Okay, cool. I have a lot. Okay. So if you hear a game and you're like, no, I've been meaning to play that, then just skip ahead a little bit. Don't worry. You will be safe and sound. But Ty, firstly, I want to talk to you first about like, what is your relationship to video games? Because obviously you cover the Mariners. That's the more thing that you're known for, dare I say. But what's kind of your relationship? Are you a hardcore guy? Are you a casual? What's going on here?
No, I love gaming. I make sure to like get every console, and I'm like that guy, right? Like I have to have like every console. I buy all the new games, especially now that like I have my own money to spend. Like that's like my one thing that I spend money on, like outside of just, the things that I need to live every day. It's games. I probably, when I'm not, doing the podcast, whatever, I'm probably gaming.
Absolutely. So, that is absolutely what Ty does. He tells me about it all the time. It's crazy. That's all he does in his spare time.
Look at my shelf. I have spent like probably $1,000 on Final Fantasy VII figures.
Final Fantasy VII. Will that game make an appearance on this list? We will have to wait and see, folks. But since Ty is the Seattle guy, he is the Mariners guy. I figured everyone's expecting us to be like, all right, the American League East. Okay, what's the Yankees? No. Because on this show, we refuse to be normal, okay? So we're starting with the American League West. We're going to go division by division. We'll probably go to American League Central, and we'll leave East last of the American League just to be petty. And then we'll go into the National League, stuff like that. And we're going to start with the Mariners in honor of Mr. Ty Dane Gonzalez, and which game most matches up with their vibe and their history and blah, blah, blah. Whatever, it's open for interpretation. Without further ado, we've been talking too much, man. Let's do it. Ty,
all right, let's do it.
What is the game for the Seattle Mariners?
So this one was pretty hard for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously it's my team, right? It's like how mean do I want to get with it? Because obviously it's also the Mariners, right? We know the reputation of the Mariners. Mm-hmm. Funny enough, we just talked about Final Fantasy. I landed on Kingdom Hearts.
Really?
Like
for the Mariners?
Okay. Hear me out. Okay. Hear me out. It's had its high moments. Mm-hmm. But it's never been like a game of the year contender, not even close. Like the Mariners have had some iconic seasons. 95, 2001. Mm-hmm. Some iconic players, but they've never challenged for a World Series. And like with Kingdom Hearts and how convoluted that story is, even when they're good, even when they win, you're probably leaving a Kingdom Hearts game or a Mariners game pissed off.
Totally fair. Totally fair.
Yeah.
Look, Kingdom Hearts, I agree. The convoluted nature of it, the lore of why the Mariners, for a team that hasn't won a World Series, team that hasn't been to the World Series, like it would be like, well, for this to have such a passionate fan base, it must be convoluted and weird. So I do think you're on to something with that. Yeah. I actually have Kingdom Hearts on my list as well, but it is not for the Mariners. But man, I got one for you, and I was kind. I was kind to you.
All right.
My game for this
is it like Animal Crossing?
Mariners. No, it is not. It is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3.
Yo, let's go. I want to hear how you explain this, because I have no idea how you're going to connect these two. But Tony Hawk is sick.
Look, never underestimate my ability to make awful analogies and land the plane, ladies and gentlemen. Here's how it works. The Seattle Mariners, really pretty famous franchise. They've been around for a long time. They peaked. They had a peak. Late 90s, and especially 2001. Ladies and gentlemen, do you know when Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 was released?
Really?
2001. And here's the thing. The way I see it is, this is a team, and by the way, also follows with the Mariners, is that they've fallen off a little bit, the Tony Hawk Pro Skater series over the years. Kind of peaked in 2001, but the peak was one of the best seasons ever, the most wins in a single season. 1827 Cubs, whatever. You get my point, though, of the modern era of baseball. Sure. 116 wins, miracle season. You've got the superstar in Ichiro, superstar in Tony Hawk, and it was one of the best in history. Literally one of the best in history. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3, by Metacritic standards, is the seventh highest rated game of all time. The 2001 Mariners team has the best single season wins. You want to go by the 1997 Mariners, one of the best offenses ever. So while, yes, it was a peak, it was literally randomly one of the greatest peaks among any team ever. So that's why I'm picking Pro Skater 3. And also because the idea of skateboarding feels very Seattle to me as an outsider. I don't know why.
My favorite thing you said there, which I never thought I would hear in the same sentence together, back to back, the superstar Ichiro, the superstar Tony Hawk. Sounds like the greatest crossover of all time.
It's what I do, man. It's what I do. You're welcome, Seattle fans. That's right. Oh, I made all the connections. Even the release date. I had like a light bulb moment, and I was incredible. Like, man,
I didn't get that deep into it. You're playing like not even 4D chess. This is like 99D chess that you're playing.
99D chess while you're doing a bunch of other things. You've got it. Yeah, I got you. I got you.
Can we do the Astros one?
So I was just about to say, when you do the Mariners. Yeah. And frankly, when you do any team, if you were a Rangers fan, if you were a Angels or A's fan, you have to go Astros, because especially of late, the supervillains they are. Ty, you can't wait to tell me. So what is your game for the Houston Astros?
The Astros are Roblox. In the way that in the way that I've never met a single person who likes it. I've never heard a good explanation for why someone would like it. Yet apparently it has this giant fan base that I'm not fully convinced is real. At the very least, it's filled with children.
Okay. Getting some personal attention here. I can sense right now.
Yeah.
It's a good pick. Look, Roblox is weird. I frankly don't know anything about it other than random TikToks that I'll see of it every now and then. That's
I see
fair.
the ones where like they're like playing soccer or something. It's like a full blown like soccer game.
Yeah, and like football, and they're like catching the pass, and there's I don't know what that game is. It's like Kid Fortnite, maybe? I don't really know. It's Kid
but
Ready Player One.
Isn't Fortnite Kid Fortnite?
Yeah, maybe. It's more maybe Roblox is just Ready Player One low key, because I don't know what that game's about, and apparently you just walk around and do stuff. And also it's had some controversies with like weird organizations building up in that game that I will not elaborate on. Feel free to Google. Not bad, Ty. Not bad.
Yeah.
I've got a couple. I've got 3, in fact, and I want you to help me out with this. Some of them, 2 of these 3 are slightly more insider baseball, and one of them is not. I'll start with the easiest one. That is The Last of Us. Okay. The other 2 nominees are Braid and Shadow of the Colossus. Now let me explain. All 3 of those games are incredible. The 2017 Astros, and frankly this whole stretch, as a baseball team, objectively pretty incredible. Braid, amazing too. But once you dig a little deeper, all right, The Last of Us, you kind of believe, spoiler alert for the next 20 seconds, you're basically the villain. Basically, in a way. It's a lot more complicated than that, which is why this is a nominee, and I haven't figured it out. It's not just as simple as you're the villain, but in the traditional not saving the world, you're kind of the bad guy. Also with The Last of Us, a game that these days, if you're really into the video game industry, people have a lot of beef with that franchise right now. And it happens later, retrospective type thing. In the moment, everyone was like, this is great. Astros, Sports Illustrated cover, right? 2017 champs, and it actually came true. And then we find out later that they cheated. The Last of Us, in the moment, one of the best games ever. Personally, my favorite game of all time. And then Last of Us 2 comes out, kind of messes it up. And a lot of people feel really weird about Last of Us as a franchise as a whole, with the creative directors in charge of it, all that stuff. Some of the narratives in the second game that people don't like, even though I disagree with the, what's the word? Kind of the analysis some people did. Moving on to Braid. Braid, literally a game about how it is a masterpiece game. It is fantastic. You are literally the villain in that game, and it is revealed later on. And also some creepy vibes to it. You're basically after a girl against her will, princess. It's reverse Mario in a lot of ways.
Perfect for the Astros.
Exactly. And then also with the girl thing, infamously, the Houston Astros did bring in Roberto Ozuna. And then their assistant GM yelled at female reporters saying, thank God that we got Ozuna. So that's why Braid is a nominee. Okay, Ty,
Braid.
I'm going.
I'm
going all in.
It's Braid. It's Braid. You cooked.
It's Braid.
It's Braid. You cooked with Braid. Yeah, you cooked with Braid.
It's Braid, ladies and gentlemen. That's right.
Yeah.
As a game, masterful. And it's still masterful, by the way. It doesn't have the same Last of Us, like weird behind the scenes analysis. And then it's revealed you're the bad guy. And then the whole princess stuff. And then you had that assistant GM thing, which frankly is the thing that I'm still more annoyed about with that franchise, more than anything else almost. So we'll go with Braid. Shadow of the Colossus was going to be the same thing, except without the weird subtext of the princess thing. And it's just that you're revealed to be kind of the bad guy. But it's unintentional. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not quite as intentional. So I myself shouldn't have picked Shadow of the Colossus. If anybody knows that.
You're removed enough to be fair to actually give them a little bit of praise. I physically am incapable of doing that. Sorry. So Roblox still.
Roblox for you, Braid for me.
Yeah.
I know some insider picks.
Very similar video games.
Yeah.
Some would say.
Yeah, some would say Braid versus Roblox. Let's move on now to a team that, in my opinion, it was the easiest for me to do of this entire list.
Sure.
And that is the Oakland A's. The Oakland Athletics, the weird team that they are. Ty, do you want to go?
So I Googled garbage simulator game.
Okay.
And the first thing that came up was a mobile game called Trash Invasion. So there. That's mine.
Wow.
That's mine for the A's.
That could have been for the Astros, but that would have been too much of low-hanging fruit.
That's too on the nose. That's
even you, simple. Right? Isn't that boring? Anytime people make that joke, I'm like, oh my God, dude.
No, like a lot of Mariners fans in our comments on Locked On Mariners will be like, oh, the trash rows. Oh, I bet they're banging the trash cans. Shut up.
It's played out. It's played out.
No, it's lame. It sucks.
Trash Invasion from Ty is his pick. Really great. Well done.
Sure.
Well done.
If you've never heard of that game, neither did I until about 2 hours ago.
My pick is pretty simple. It's Dark Souls. For those who are unfamiliar, impossibly hard series, makes you hate yourself, and you keep trying to come back.
So I have Dark Souls for another team.
Okay.
That has also historically been pretty cheap, but we'll get to that later.
So that's my thing. It just feels like being an A's fan is Dark Souls at this point. It is awful. We hate John Fisher, and unfortunately, he's not the only one. Now, he's the worst example, but he's not the only one that's you just alluded to that's cheap in baseball, kind of ruining the sport. But the A's, it's just on another level, and there's no game series really. The FromSoft, the developer, the dark, any Souls-like game, I'd say, fits the A's, whether it be Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, whichever one you want to pick. That one samurai game from a while ago that was PlayStation exclusive.
Dark Souls 2 is the worst one, so we'll give them
Dark Souls 2. All right, Dark Souls 2.
That's the one. That's the one
I have heard that one's bad. Yeah,
that's the one that Miyazaki didn't even work on. So
gotcha. Shouts to all the baseball fans who definitely know what we're talking about.
Yeah, that game sucks. That game sucks. I've only played like the complete edition of that game that has like all the DLC. There is this one area that's like a complete snowy area. It's a blizzard. You literally can't see. Like they just have a level where you straight up, you just can't see. You have no idea where you're going.
Yeah, and by the way, for the record, Dark Souls, to people don't know, very acclaimed series.
Yeah.
It's usually fairly hard. Like it makes you like really want to, it doesn't do the FU, like, you know.
It's still like, it's like it's not manufactured.
Right? Manufactured is a perfect word for it. Yeah. Like there have been games throughout history where like, yeah, they're challenging, but you manufacture difficulty. So there's an old game famously, the Silver Surfer video game from Marvel Comics where it's like 3 hits and you restart the entire game, which is absurd, especially for one of the most powerful characters in the Marvel universe. But anyway, that's besides the point. Dark Souls 2, it sounds like manufactured challenge. So shouts to the A's, and I feel for y'all. Ty, what team do we cover next in the AL West?
Let's do the Angels.
The Angels. Okay.
Yeah.
This one hurts me. This one hurts me, mine. That I
have there were a lot of good options for the Angels. I landed on the current state of the original Modern Warfare 2.
Oh, wait. Like the original on the Xbox 360 Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2?
Yeah. So like, hear me out. Like, the servers still work.
Okay.
You can still get on there. Okay. And there's still the stuff you love, like Mike Trout. But then you actually get into a game and
you realize it's overrated?
It's full of hackers, the match crashes. It's just a mess. It's just terrible. It's just like what you used to know. It's gone.
Oh,
it's gone. It's just
gone. Oh, that made me so sad because it's appropriate.
But Mike Trout is still there. Sad as ever.
Yeah. You've still got that ACR that's a laser that you could use to get your skill streaks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good one. I've got Call of Duty on my list as well, but for a different team. For me, this hurts me. Another one of my favorite games of all time. My pick for the Los Angeles Angels is Super Mario Sunshine. Folks, for those who don't know, Mario, pretty famous. You know who else is pretty famous and very good? Mike Trout, Shohei Ohtani. My thinking was this game features a GOAT, but it is also referred to as the black sheep of the franchise. Granted, unlike the Angels, Mario Sunshine is just genuinely better than like 90% of games you'll find out there. But as a Mario game, even though it's my personal favorite, a lot of people disagree, and I respect that opinion.
I love it.
So for me, hell yeah! See, this is why I'm
on the show.
Exactly. And the Angels are kind of like the black sheep, dare I say, of all California teams.
Sure.
You know what I mean? That's kind of how they're viewed. And they have a GOAT in Mario. They have a GOAT in Mario. But let me tell you, it is referred to as the worst one of the bunch, I think. But it is close. And unfortunately, you're kind of correct in the Padres, historically, at least, being the one that's not as great. But
I have a different one for the Padres, but again, we'll get to that later.
Last team of the division, the Texas Rangers. This one was for some reason really hard, which might surprise people given that they literally just won the World Series. But I genuinely had a lot of trouble with this one. My best one that I could come up with, Assassin's Creed, as a series.
I have Assassin's Creed a little later on.
Okay, cool. My thinking behind this was series stumbled for a while. It was good. It sold well. Rangers, lots of money, big market. They still did well, but they had a lot of slip-ups. You know what I mean? They had a lot of slip-ups. The first Assassin's Creed game, low-key, not good. Assassin's Creed 2, really well, but ages a little bit poorly. And then eventually, though, I feel like they're a franchise that like has all these misses. So the Rangers, famously, choking the World Series away, losing to the Rays, losing to a bunch of other teams. Some say the best team of our lives that never won a World Series, some of those Rangers teams. And Assassin's Creed, you know, they come out with like some of the more acclaimed titles, right? Like the Black Flag and stuff like that. And it just feels like that's a franchise that slowly found its footing. But what do you think, sir?
So this one was actually fairly easy for me.
Okay.
I landed on Doom.
Doom?
Yeah, because it's had a pretty big impact.
Uh-huh.
You've always been aware of its existence, but it just recently dropped its magnum opus. I think that's pretty similar to the Rangers.
Oh, okay. This is good. That theme, I was trying to connect to another team before we were doing this. Okay. I wish I had used that line of thinking because the one that I picked is not nearly as good. But Dune also...
So I have Doom for 2 teams, by the way. So that's including the Rangers. So there's another team that has Doom.
I like that reasons. Doom, to further your point of why this is a good take, is also Doom just fucks. And what I mean by that also is that it is so simple. Hey, we're making you a super soldier guy, and you're going to shoot the shit out of demons.
Yeah.
Have fun. This is video games at its best. The Texas Rangers... they were simple. Spend a shit ton of money. Boom. Right. World Series. So there's a simplicity to it. So that's why I agree with you on Doom. So that was a good one.
Also, we're 21 minutes in, and I just learned that we could swear on the show.
Yeah, you know what? That happens sometimes.
I've been purposely like censoring myself. So no, I'm letting it rip now, Javi. You
don't have to be crazy.
You've unleashed the beast.
You've unleashed the beast. Gems with it, but yeah. Goodfellas Ty is about to make an appearance. But folks, that's it for the AL West. Again, Pro Skater 3 for me for the Mariners. Super Mario Sunshine for the Angels. Ashers, I had Braid, and as Ty said, I cooked. A's, Dark Souls 2. Mine was Rangers. I had Assassin's Creed. And can you repeat yours one more time?
Yeah, so I did Roblox for Astros. I did the current state of the original Modern Warfare 2 for the Angels. Oh. I did some mobile game called Trash Invasion for the A's.
Good. Well done.
I did Doom for the Rangers, and then I did Kingdom Hearts for the Mariners.
Not bad, man. Not bad. Yeah. Let's move on now to the most boring division in baseball. That is the American League Central.
Which is why I may have not done 4 out of the 5 teams in this division.
I actually think I came up with some good ones.
This is going to be a hobby heavy division. Just tell you that now.
Since hopefully, you know what? Look, this podcast isn't one that I get overtly political on. We try to have fun on here. Hopefully I don't get canceled with this. We're going to start with the division leader, and that's the Cleveland Guardians.
Oh, yeah.
For this one, I picked a game called Custer's Revenge. For those who are unfamiliar, it is quite possibly the most racist video game ever made. It basically, for those who don't know, go Google the history of this country and Native Americans, but you play as someone named, there is a real general named General Custer, and he lost a battle against Native Americans, and you play in this game as General Custer to go and not lose. So a revisionist history game.
It's Custer's Revenge.
It's Custer's Revenge.
It's literally Custer's Revenge.
My connection is that the Cleveland Guardians have a really bad history because they used to be called the Cleveland Indians, and they used to have the Chief Wahoo thing, and that was really bad. So that's my connection, and I'm not going to say anything more just in case this devolves and I am assassinated. It's not funny. It's not funny what happened.
No. We're not laughing at that. We're not laughing. Let's make that abundantly clear here. We're not laughing at that.
Very clear. It's just I'm laughing at the fact that game came out. It's actually insane. Even by video game, like it's not like this game came out in 1606. Like video games are a relatively nascent development in our culture and technology. It is not that old. Right. So everyone go look that up. Sure. Or not, because there's other things in that game that don't age well too. I know, crazy, but there's even more stuff in that game that's bad. So go ahead.
Can we do mine for the White Sox? Because that's the only team that I did.
So nothing division. For Guardians you got?
Nothing for the Guardians. I didn't do the Guardians. I didn't do the Royals. I didn't do the Twins. I didn't do the Tigers. Okay, I told you this before we recorded. Like some of these teams, like you could just put them all in a pile and basically call them like the the 70 to 75 rated scores on Metacritic. Like they're just there. They just exist.
Yeah,
like there's nothing that makes them really stand out. They just exist.
I've got some decent ones though. Now that I look at it, I'm actually like, I did all right here. Anyway, for me, Custer's Revenge for the Guardians. We're just gonna go with that. Ty, what's the next team you want?
So the White Sox.
Oh right.
I also did Doom.
Okay.
unlike the Rangers,
the Rock movie.
This is just. Yes, actually. But unlike the Rangers, this is just for the word itself. Like the Doom series is sick. It fucks, like you said, which that's the opposite of the Chicago White Sox. They're just doomed.
Oh, just
yeah, they're just doomed.
Okay, I'll allow it. It.
Yeah.
You should have said like Last of Us if you wanted to go with the doomed approach.
Sure.
Like we're just all dead. Not a very happy series, that one. Let me tell you.
It's Silent Hill 2.
God dang. Yeah. Who would Pyramid Head be? Like Jerry Reinsdorf?
yeah. Jerry Reinsdorf is Pyramid Head.
Absolutely.
Luis Robert is James.
Or
maybe Luis Robert is Mary. And like,
okay.
Or maybe Eloy is Mary because they keep on holding funerals for him. Spoilers.
I mostly know what you mean. Yeah, it's okay. I played that game when I was younger.
Two people understand what I'm talking about right now.
But shouts to you two people. Man.
Shout out to you two people.
We love
Hi,
you.
Mom.
My selection for this one is Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, the Chicago White Sox. I'll explain. This is a recent game. Yeah. It is a game that isn't very good. And to me, what explains the Chicago White Sox is not just being bad, not just some bad GM stuff. It is the owner and Jerry Reinsdorf. The Suicide Squad game was developed by someone called Rocksteady. Not someone. That is the developer, Rocksteady Studios.
It's one person. His name is Rocksteady. John Rocksteady.
John Rocksteady presents to you Kill the Justice League. And this game, really talented developer in Rocksteady. For those who don't know, they are the ones that did the Batman Arkham series, which I think even the most casual video game people have probably heard of. It's excellent. Yeah. To me, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is emblematic of what's wrong with the White Sox, which is ownership. In the case of Suicide Squad, I refuse to believe that game was 100% the direction they wanted to go for their next title. First of all, Batman Beyond was literally right there. Second of all, that is a game that they put a lot of money into and they're chasing the bag, right? They want to go for this games as a service thing. For those who don't know, that basically means like a game that you buy and will continually give you content for money that you can pay for the rest of time, basically. And the biggest example of this...
endless game.
Best example of this is Destiny. For those who don't know, that is a huge game. But here's the thing: chasing trends. The White Sox to me are a perfect example of like something that has failed because of its ownership and people making decisions there. Literally, Andrew Benintendi is their biggest contract they've ever given out. So that should tell you, like, to me, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, not their fault. First of all, not just because I don't think that was the project they would have liked to do, but also the way the game's set up as a service, a trend that outside Destiny and maybe a couple others is basically dead. You know what I mean? Literally, the Avengers game was a games as a service game, and that wasn't very good.
I tried to find a fit for the Avengers game on here. I just couldn't do it.
I know. I don't want to remember that game either. Shout out Kamala Khan, though. She rules. So that's my pick for the Chicago White Sox. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, which apparently killed Ty in the process of me saying
it. Suicide Squad Kill Ty Dane Gonzalez.
Okay. Which one do you want to do next?
I mean, it's up to you. You're the one that has these. Yeah.
All right, let me continue to cook.
Yeah.
The Detroit Tigers, I don't feel great about this one. It is the Gran Turismo series for me.
Yeah, like a motor
City. That's a connection. Yeah. And also, it is a series that it had its big moments. They had Max Scherzer, they had Verlander, they had an amazing rotation. They made the World Series, all that stuff. Yeah. They've been trying to dig themselves out of a hole for a while. And that's the same thing for the Gran Turismo series. They're not suffering and dying, but they are not nearly as big as they used to be. And it feels like everybody else just kind of took their lunch money from them. Forza Motorsport being the series that kind of did. But as a racing game, Gran Turismo was like top level. The Detroit Tigers are like a famous organization. And it just feels like they've been trying to climb their way out of a lot of somewhat innocent mistakes. This isn't as like the White Sox with the ownership. like just making bad decisions. And it feels like they've been trying to crawl their way up. So I put Gran Turismo for the Detroit Tigers. For the Minnesota Twins and Kansas City Royals, the Twins, my man, the blue blur, the fastest thing alive.
Gotta go fast.
Sonic the Hedgehog as a series. I could, because frankly, there's too many goddamn games. So here's my thinking. First of all, Twin Cities, kind of their nickname. Sonic's got a twin people might have heard of, basically, and Shadow the Hedgehog. So shouts to him.
Oh my gosh. Shadow.
Stop it. And as a character and vibe, I think Sonic is great. But in terms of his games, the quality is a little hit or miss. But to me, the Twins, they get slandered a lot. They owned by the Yankees. Byron Buxton gets injured every 3 seconds. Not a lot of people pay as much attention to them. They get slandered a lot. Sonic gets slandered a lot. But he's at worst, he's decent. Games. The character is a 5, and I will fight for that man forever. Sure. But when it comes to like games, I think people slander the franchise a lot when, they've had their bad patches. A few years ago, they were like one of the top rated teams, and they finished like the worst record in baseball. But they're okay. So I think they get overhated and over slandered as a team right now. So that's my thinking behind Sonic the Hedgehog.
I'll say though, I've never seen some, let's say, questionable fan art of like Pablo Lopez out there, but
nobody, anyone who doesn't know what Ty's talking about, do not look it up. No. Please.
No.
Do not. Anyway, go ahead.
Save your mental state. Don't look it up. No.
Okay.
The Royals, you also have one for the Royals.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. The Kansas City Royals, my favorite one of any pick that I've done for this division, is a game called Mirror's Edge, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay.
If you haven't heard of it, underrated game, first-person parkour. To basically summarize it, really nifty, kind of cool. Parkour. Really nifty story. My thinking behind this, unfortunately, kind of a one-and-done game. And it had its fans. Kansas City Royals, they have that one World Series. And quite literally, I think that's it, with the exception of Paul Rudd. That is the franchise organization. That's how you summarize them. But what a one-hit it was. It is a unique game, too. I mean, I just said it, first-person parkour. That Kansas City Royals team, very unique World Series winner. Basically just had 3 of the best relievers in the entire sport, and the best defense in the entire sport, and one of the best defenses of the history of baseball. And that's how they won. Not the traditional, you got to have power, you got to have average, you got to have an ace. Instead, they were defense, bullpen, beating you 2-1, and they stumbled into a World Series. So that's how I was thinking for the Royals. What do you think?
Now that you said that, because I think about that team in 2015, a lot of teams tried to replicate that and couldn't do it afterwards. The Mariners being one of them, by the way. Kind of feel like there's a little Dark Souls there, because now there's all these there's all these Souls clones out there. They're mostly
hero
terrible.
Shooters, maybe. Could you say Overwatch?
Oh yeah, it could be Overwatch too.
Maybe Overwatch. You've had a lot of poor imitations of that. Poor imitations is a good angle that I wish I had thought of before doing this. Poor imitations. But no, you're right. There's a lot of teams that have been trying to say, let's just have dynamic defense and amazing bullpen. And then one of those it really is of its time, right? Like, it's really hard to just have 3 of the top 5 best relievers the same year on your team. And that's basically what happened with the Royals. Like, every team, even when they have good bullpens, are going to have weak links. Royals were just like, cool, we have 3 guys with sub 1s. I might be making that up, but it's close enough. So those are my picks. Ty, do you have any left in the American League Central, the division that you just were devoted to?
Tigers, maybe also Need for Speed, because there's an Underground 2 in there, but there's also a lot of whatever the last one was called.
Yeah, I forgot what it was called too. The one that was a story-based one?
The one that had A$AP Rocky in it.
Don't even remember, but that explains it probably. Yeah. Just say A$AP Rocky, but something tells me that they might have spent all their budget just getting you.
Right.
So that might have happened. Yeah. Is that it for the American League Central?
Yeah, that's
okay. Cool.
The AL Central.
Let's go to the AL East, man. Let's keep it moving. The division that I bet a lot of people probably want to hear about the most. It's probably the most famous division in baseball. We don't care, because on this show we hate some of the teams in this division.
That's right.
Which one do you hate the most, though, Ty? What should we start with?
Well, I do live in Toronto, and obviously the Mariners have had a lot of success against the Toronto Blue Jays, so I don't want to hate them from that perspective. I just find their fan base kind of annoying. Sorry.
Totally fair. Totally fair.
Yeah. So let's start with the Blue Jays.
I have a bad one. I have a bad one.
I told you that I had Assassin's Creed for a team, and that's for the Toronto Blue Jays. So
okay.
hear me out. Had
Go
a couple bangers back in the day. You know, back-to-back World Series for the Blue Jays. Back-to-back bangers for Assassin's Creed, you could say. Right at the start of it. You know, everyone still seems to look forward to them, even though they're generally pretty average, pretty formulaic. And the trailers are usually way better than the product we actually get, which you know, Vlad Jr. did say that thing a couple of years ago about how last year was the trailer, this year's the movie, and then they, you know, got swept in the playoffs by the Seattle Mariners, but you know, whatever.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ty cooked. No, that's it. That's the one. That's better than what I did for Assassin's Creed for sure. And not to mention, you want to talk about hype trailers? For those who don't remember Assassin's Creed 3, when it was like the Revolutionary War, everyone's like, oh, of course, this is on paper.
Dude,
and that game,
the Revelations trailer banged too.
Revelation, you're right, dude. You're out to even the like, what was it, Unity? I forgot which is the one where you have like fellow assassins. That one banged. Was Unity. Yeah. No, you're right, dude. No, you got it. It's Assassin's Creed. You're 100% right. Not awful, certainly. Not like a bad team, but like much more flash. I mean, we've been talking about is Vlad good for like how many years? You know what I mean? And they have their Vlad Jr. MVP year and a Black Flag. It's games like that, right? But as a whole, oh man, you cooked. That was so good. That was so good. Man, I played Assassin's Creed 3 and like never got to the part where you're the assassin. I don't know what they were thinking to like not actually feature all these big, large scale Revolutionary War battles and only let you play as the character like 6 hours in. So anyway, mine for this was Battlefield. And my thinking was just that it's a team that is close to, adjacent to some other teams in terms of the firepower, but low-key kind of boring and overrated once you actually dig under the surface. Flashy, good graphics, giant player base when you're in a match, but guys, unless you're playing with friends, I dare you to look me in the eye and tell me that Battlefield's fun. Anyway, that is my pick for the Blue Jays, but Ty Cook, so I'm giving it to him for sure. Next one, I want to do this one next. It's the Tampa Bay Rays. I'm excited for this one. I'm really excited. All right. It's a little game called Peggle.
Peggle 2.
Yeah. For those who don't know, firstly, let me just say something. Peggle, that's another game that fucks. That game's amazing.
Oh, it's a great game.
It's a great game. Great
I've spent hours on Peggle.
For those who don't know, what's the damn developer's name? They also did Bejeweled. You might have heard of that game before, and they've also done Plants vs. Zombies.
They're technically EA games, right?
I think they are now. Yeah. Is it PopCap? Is that their name?
It's something like that. Yeah.
Developer PopCap Games. There we go.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, you basically shoot. Think of it as the Plinko game from Price is Right, except it's not just down set things. You fire the ball and you bounce off a bunch of platforms and get a bunch of points. You only have a certain amount of shots. My thing behind this is the Rays. They just be firing their shit somewhere and it results in a bunch of fun. That's just what seems to happen every year whenever you look at their roster. Oh, we picked up the Isaac Paredes. Guess what? He's a top third baseman right now. Oh, wow. You just fired the ball over there. Ooh, you just stumbled into Tyler Glass now. That game is all about like chain reactions and stumbling. So I'm going with Peggle for the Tampa Bay Rays.
I like that more than mine. This was the one that I used Dark Souls on because like they're usually really good, but they take the hardest possible route to be that good.
Dude, that's good too, man. I like both of these, honestly.
Yeah.
I think these are both pretty good. Okay. No, but that's good though. It's true though, because like, and especially I think one thing with the Rays is that they unfortunately just can't reach the mountaintop, but no one like hates them for it because there's a lot of cheap teams, but they don't have the biggest fan base in the world, not the most money in the world. And most importantly, you guys are really good at it though. There are other teams that are cheap and are like bad for 6 years.
They're just really good at developing. Like way
they're just
better
really
than
good at developing. Else. It's become a joke practically, a meme that like, oh yeah, this guy who we found this kid playing, you know, with the you should throw the milk bottles. You throw the ball at the carnival games. He throws a 98 now for the Tampa Bay Rays. Like that's literally what they do. So shouts to them. I like both of ours. This is my favorite so far because I think both of ours are really good.
There we go. All right.
Shout out to the Rays.
You have one for the Orioles, but I don't. Right.
So we'll go with the Orioles. My thinking, I was just mentioning, a big part of this is that we are doing some that is recency. This is peak recency for the Baltimore Orioles. I'm going with Earthbound. For those who don't know, it is an RPG featuring some super goddamn talented kids, and that's my angle. That's my angle. And they go up and they're ready to fight God. This is it. In every RPG, you're always starting with like you're unassuming, the characters, and then they become beasts. And that's what they've done is they've grown a farm and done some stuff. And Earthbound is the RPG that's literally the most about kids because you literally play as kids. And
I love that.
Thank you.
Yeah. I love that. That's a great one. Yeah. And plus Ness has the bat. Like
exactly.
It works out perfectly. All right. Now which Oriole is Ness?
It's gotta be Adley, right?
Yeah.
It has to be Adley.
Kind of has to be, yeah.
Lucas has to be like Jackson Holiday. No, that's mean. That's mean. Lucas is a little bit of he's the wimpier of the two. So that's what I'm saying. And he kind of panicked a little bit when things don't go his way. And Jackson Holiday didn't do great.
We'll be nicer and give him Gunner.
Yeah, Gunner.
Lucas can be Gunner. Yeah.
He can't. Oh, absolutely. Hey, Lucas can still. He's got the PK fire and shit, man.
For those that don't know, in Earthbound, there is a character who is part of your party named Pooh. So who's Pooh? Who's Pooh?
Pooh? Let me see who Pooh would be. Pooh would be like
Ramon
someone
Urias.
Like Ramon Urias. Like that. Maybe like a I don't know, some guy in their bullpen that's randomly good. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Something like that. I don't know. I can't think.
Yennier Cano.
Yeah, there you go. It's
sure.
Pooh. That's my thinking for the Orioles.
Sure.
Is there another one that you don't have from this division?
No. I have the Yankees. I have the Red Sox. So let's get into those. All right. So the Red Sox, I gave them Halo.
Okay.
Remember when the Red Sox used to be great?
Yep.
They spent money. They had stars, but then they traded Mookie. And it's like when Halo switched from Bungie, which has now gone on to make Destiny, which you mentioned earlier, to 343 Industries. And like, it's still Halo. It's still the Red Sox. But this kind of sucks.
No, that's okay. The only reason that I might disagree is because from what I've heard, the last one they put out just didn't do well, but it was pretty good, at least for a while. And to me, the Red Sox suckitude isn't as innocent as just we trade a rookie. And it's the ownership. So I'm going to get into that a little bit.
Yeah.
I think both of us are onto it. It's pretty close. For me, I put Saints Row for basically the exact same reasons. It used to be right there with their rival. In the case of Saints Row, their rival, Grand Theft Auto. Very similar series, except that Saints Row went the bonkers Deadpool direction, for lack of a better descriptor. And it worked. Saints Row 2 was pretty good. Saints Row the Third is when it got nuts. For people who don't know, you can literally hit people in that game with a dildo, among many other ridiculous things.
It's a
totally
really
ridiculous
fun video game.
Fourth one was pretty good too, and then they just fell off, and the studio is now literally defunct at this point. Not all their fault. They had a reboot that wasn't very good. I think it was some studio mismanagement stuff, and to me, the rivalry. I think they have they're so connected to the Yankees. So I'm going with Saints Row the Third as mine. But hey, that's still really good too, though, with Halo. It really is.
So the Yankees, the Mario series.
Okay.
It's one of the OGs. It was peak back then. It was peak back in the early to mid 2000s. But now it's just kind of it's fun. It's accessible.
Oh, nah, man.
It probably shouldn't be taken as seriously as people take it. It shouldn't be winning any Game of the Year awards, even though it keeps getting nominated for them. Yeah. Sounds a lot like the Yankees.
I think this is crazy. I think Mario, just like Martin Scorsese, still has its fastball, man. This man don't miss. Mario is a king, and I just strongly disagree. Have you not played Mario Odyssey? Did you not feel the joy of playing Mario Wonder, Mario RPG? This man does not miss. He does not miss.
They're cool.
They're great. How dare you? That is a disgrace.
I told you I told you before we recorded this, there was at least going to be one that you were going to take offense to, and I had a feeling it was this.
And I'm not taking offense to the Yankees. I'm taking offense to Mario.
Yeah. No, Yankees fans are like pissed off at me. You're a Mario fan who's pissed off at me.
Exactly right.
You're like, fuck the Yankees, like whatever.
Exactly. My thinking. Again, gonna try not to get too political for the other reasons behind this. Call of Duty series. All of them, great. And literally historic. Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
They've had the highest selling games. They still have the highest selling games.
Yeah.
However, they have this weird vibe to them politically as well. And a fan base that seemingly knows nothing about how the rest of the world in video games works. I don't think Yankees fans are infamous for being like, why don't we just get that Trout guy? Right. Why don't we just do that? People who love Call of Duty, and I'm talking like it's the only game they play. And if it's the only game you play and like you have fun and you're not like, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the people who like crap on other games. I'm talking about Twitch streamers especially that have no interest in trying anything else. That can be the Yankees fan base a lot of times. So that's my thought.
I like it. That's solid.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
That's a very solid connection.
That is it for the American League, but now we move into the National League, and we've been talking for a while, so we're just going to get straight to it. I don't know which division to start with, frankly. I think since we did the most popular division last, now, I think we start off with the NL East. With the Mets, Braves, Phillies, Marlins, and Nationals. This one was a little bit tough for me. This one was a little bit tough. I'm going to start off with the one I feel the least good about. Because I can't wait to get into the ones I feel great about. The Mets, I have a bunch, and I had to outsource this one a little bit. Because I had trouble. So I've got a bunch of nominees. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet versions, Batman Arkham Origins, and Mass Effect 3. My thinking is, and this is a recency-based pick, not all-timer. Because if we did all-timer, I could just choose Trash Invasion or whatever you picked before. For me, everyone makes fun of them. More importantly, their fans are sick and they're losing their minds over them, despite the fact that it's not that bad. You know what I mean? Batman Arkham Origins, not as good, right? It's not as good as the others, but is it like some disaster because Rocksteady didn't develop it? Pokemon Scarlet. I know people have problems with the Pokemon franchise and its refusal to innovate in a major way, but it's still a good game. You still got Steve Cohen's Bunny. You're still doing okay. And then lastly, Mass Effect 3, a great game that became incredibly controversial because of a really bad ending. But let's take a step back for a second. The game is very good, guys. So that's my theme that I'm going for with the Mets. I don't know which one out of those, but that's my thinking.
Okay, mine is very opposite to what you said.
Okay, here we go. Do it.
Mine is that no one's gonna understand this. Mine's that Unreal Engine 5 demo that they showed before the new consoles came out.
Oh my god! You talking about the scale bat? No, the dragon thing.
It was like
Deep Under.
It was like it was like this like female character, and she was like climbing rocks and stuff. They were just trying to show off the engine, right?
Okay.
So my angle with this is like, wow, look at how amazing these graphics are.
Yeah.
But it's not an actual game, though. You know.
This is tough. This is mean. My only defense is that the Mets have been really good recently. Now, it crashed down, but they won 100 games. And if not for my team, the Padres. And the Braves. Would have been a little bit better. So that's my thing. I mean, they both fit. I loved your Down Under thing. That's a really great call.
I'm definitely like focused on last year for sure, where it's like you spent all this money. It was a disaster. You didn't actually build a baseball team. You just bought a bunch of guys who like so happened to play baseball and put them together, and it didn't work.
I assume Francisco Lindor is safe from that statement. Okay,
we love Frankie around here.
Yeah. Okay. Good. No, I honestly I think both of these work. And I think that makes sense. Just even if it's not Unreal Engine 5, just the basic thing, dare I say, of a game engine demo that never actually amounts to something. And in some cases, literally, they're like, no, this game's real. And then we never see it again. There's a couple of those, I think, for PlayStation that happened. There's one with a guy facing a dragon in a cave. I forgot what it's called. It's not the one you're talking about, but
that's Deep Down. That was
Deep Down.
That was a Capcom game that never came out.
I said Down Under. Okay, so I was close. But whatever. Those are our picks for the Mets. What do we do next? Because there's a lot of potential here. This division's pretty wild.
Let's do the Phillies.
You want to do the Phillies? I have way too many nominees for this one, frankly.
I landed on Super Smash Bros. And I only wrote one line under here. The Phillies are a star-studded cast of himbos that smash baseballs.
Yeah. That's pretty good. That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
I mean, and it rules. That's the other thing is it works. You have to praise them. Hey, they apparently have had the best start since the 0-1 Mariners at one point. They had this year, which is pretty wild.
Yeah.
Phillies are amazing. I've got 3 nominees. Some of them are a little bit insider. Actually, all 3 of them kind of insider. So I also nominated Sonic for this. My reasoning was insane fan base. But the other 2 that I have nominees for, Castle Crashers. If anybody's ever heard of this game,
yeah,
it's a combination of 4 knights that have crazy powers, and you run around. And it is a chaotic game. It's got a big sense of humor for sure, but it's also just really good, and there's a good vibe to it. So it's really, really fun. You're smashing the shit out of guys. You're throwing fireballs. You're reviving your teammates, and it works. And it's really fun. Insane fan base. And then the other nominee, one that probably not a lot of people know of, Conker's Bad Fur Day, is my other nominee.
I love that. Yeah,
Conker's Bad Fur Day. Here's my thinking. It's a chaotic game.
Yeah.
And drunk. Literally. This is a big thing of Conker. The game starts off with you being hungover and forgetting how to get home and just nearly dying, basically. But it's also, for its time, extremely good. Not all of it ages well. Certainly not. I recommend everyone look up a certain flower in that game if you'd like to just have an idea of what this is. The people who developed this made a game called Banjo-Kazooie.
Yep.
They've made some very Rare is a very famous developer of GoldenEye. Like, so that's my thinking.
More recently, Sea of Thieves.
My thinking between these 2 is Castle Crashers, because Conker doesn't age as well, and I think that. I don't know if Phillies, the thing I think about them is not age well. We already went through the Guardians. You know what I mean? Right. Yeah. I don't think they have that. The chaoticness of Conker as a person is like, I think that's how Philly fans are sometimes. Always Sunny in Philadelphia vibes.
Yeah.
What do you think, though?
I would still go with Conker. Like, it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. Yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be everything that comes with
Conker. And also, if we want to get into more recency, that game ends very sad, despite all the chaos. Philadelphia sports has been ending very sadly. So you know what? I'm Conker. Yeah, I'm going with Conker in this one.
All right, so I'll admit it. I didn't come up with one for the Marlins or the Braves or the Nationals. So what do you got?
I want to save my best one for last, which is the Braves. Okay. Marlins, I have a bunch of nominees. This was hard though.
Yeah.
This was very hard. I have 3.
Yeah.
Frankly, every Telltale game, for those who don't know, they're the masters of point-and-click adventure games. A game called Brink. No, I'm not talking about the WNBA player.
Oh, yeah.
And then Halo Master Chief Collection. My theme is...
Who the fuck remembers Brink?
Me! Because I was the idiot that bought into it.
I think I rented that on Gamefly once.
Dude,
shout out to Gamefly, by the way.
Dude, shouts to Gamefly. That was the movement for a minute.
Yeah.
My thing with Brink was I believed so much, and I tried to talk myself into it when I was playing. I knew it, like, deep down, I knew I made a grave mistake.
You know what was super off topic, but you know what was actually like a really good shooter that came out around the same time that like no one like gave love to? Bulletstorm. Did you ever play Bulletstorm?
I think Bulletstorm's problem was that we were getting too many shooters.
Yeah,
and I think
that game was sick. That game was
I never played it. I never played it, but I know there's like a whip. I think, right? You get a whip in that one. And you whip people over to you.
There was a lot of shit in that game.
That game walks so Doom could run. Some might say.
Some might say. Yeah.
Some might say, but that's my thinking between all of these. And for me, it's Walking Dead, or I should just say Telltale as a developer, unfortunately, just kind of went down under.
Right, yeah.
Just a lot of bad decisions. Marlins, a lot of bad decisions from management. Brink, it had promise. It did. And I tried to talk myself into it. I think this was around during my I'm sick of Call of Duty phase. So I was just like, they'll fix it. Oh, look at all the features they have. And it was clearly a game that was half-assed, like the Marlins. And then the Halo Master Chief Collection, a lot of potential. I don't know if they fixed it, but I know that it's infamous for quite literally just not working online when it came out for a long time. Like, it just didn't work. And everyone was really disappointed because they wanted to play the first 3 games, play multiplayer with their friends, and it just didn't work. So between all those, I'm feeling Telltale, personally. Just as a developer, all of their games are the same style of game, just whether it be Guardians of the Galaxy or Batman or Walking Dead, kind of the same thing.
I like it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. For the Nationals, for the Washington Nationals, I was trying to go with the theme of I see this logo and I always think of something else. That was what I was originally going for. I could not find one that reminded me of that. I know there's a game out there whose logo reminds me of something else that isn't that. My direction I went with Baldur's Gate 3. Because how the fuck did that work? That's my reasoning. How the hell did they win in 2019 out of nowhere? You literally lost your best players outside Max Scherzer and Steven Strasburg and won later on. Baldur's Gate is literally the third game. No one had heard of the first two, and it came out. It is like the biggest game ever made, and like everyone's like, "How did they do this? This is insane!" It's literally just Dungeons and Dragons come to real life. So shouts to Baldur's Gate 3. Shouts to that Nationals team that came out and won the World Series.
Yeah. And like Baldur's Gate 3, the Nationals' third act just is unplayable.
That much I don't know. I didn't play the third act. I
didn't play. It
play
literally is like 20 frames per second, even on like a really good PC. Apparently.
Okay. Love to hear that. Anyway, shouts to them though. Seems like a cool bunch of folks over there. They must be absolutely living right now. Yeah. The other nominee I could say for this is Helldivers, because that's another game that came out of nowhere. It is now like the biggest thing on the planet. But let's stick with BG3 because it's more fun. Sure. Or I don't know, actually. I'm starting to talk myself into Helldivers a little bit. Because there wasn't a lot of I don't know. I might go Helldivers because Helldivers was truly out of nowhere. It's Helldivers 2, I believe. And Baldur's Gate 3 was slowly picking up momentum in the game industry before it fully like came out and stuff. Like Helldivers literally was like day one. No one knew if this was just going to be totally forgotten about. So I might go Helldivers. And people who don't even know video games might know the ridiculousness of that. All right, let's go Helldivers. Lastly, the Atlanta Braves. Do you have one?
No. I really struggled with this.
It's okay.
Like the Braves, the Braves, like I thought of like being really nice and being like, oh, it's like Grand Theft Auto, or it's just any Rockstar game where it's like you're gonna get it. You know you're gonna get it. It's super consistent. Like it's gonna be really good. But the problem is the Braves haven't won a World Series in a long time. So it's like
2021, man. Give them a second.
Oh shit. You know what?
Did you not remember that?
I totally forgot that they won the World Series in 2021. For a second.
Because all of their best players were hurt. That's
right. Yeah. Adam. Yeah. Weird. So there we go. It's Red Dead Redemption. It's
Red Dead Redemption.
It's Grand Theft. I don't know. Whatever. It's really good. You're gonna
pick a good game. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Totally fair.
Yeah. You know, and you know, 2021 was like 40 years ago. So
yeah, exactly. No, I 100% agree.
That was really that's really bad on my part.
I'm going the mean route. Yeah. Because you know what? I hate Boston. But let me tell you, the Braves, I think, have a worse fan base. And they really showed it last year. So, Ty, my game for the Atlanta Braves is similar in vein to what we did with the Astros when I gave them a good game. Yoshi's Island is my pick for the Atlanta Braves.
Okay.
Let me cook, folks. Let me cook.
Sure.
Yoshi's Island, one of the best games. I have a shirt of it. It's great. Not exactly what you would expect from a Mario game necessarily, but you're Yoshi and you're saving little baby Mario. You know what happens in that game a lot? When you get hit, little baby Mario starts crying and floating away, and you have to save him. The Atlanta Braves fan base, I have never in my lifetime seen a team, every faction, fan base, broadcasters, sideline reporters, the goddamn mascot. The players too. I have never seen all at once a team, everything connect to it, cry as much as the Atlanta Braves fan base did last year. It was insane. I'm talking about the Attaboy Harp. I'm talking about I'm on MLB Network. Them being like, wow, why would you report that? I don't know. Did you forget how media worked? Acting like it's the worst thing. Oh, Bryce Harper, the way he looked at RC as he was rounding the base. The broadcasting, it's just really unclassy, and all that stuff. Okay? The Atlanta Braves, crybabies, but great, which is what Yoshi's Island is. That was my thinking.
All right. I can fuck with it.
Thank you.
Thank
you very much. I'm proud of this one.
I've
never seen anything like it, dude. I've never seen anything like it. And it was after the first game. That's something people forget. They lost one game to Philly and started losing it and complaining like I've never seen before.
It's true.
Unbelievable stuff from them.
It's true. Good point. So Central.
Also, for those who want to just have a recap, I wrote an article about this at justbaseball.com. If you'd like to check it out, I think it's like something about Braves dumb. I don't know, but find it under my name at the website if you want to check
Braves
it out.
dumb. That's hard. That's
You might just put it in the search bar and it'll probably pop up.
Title Braves, body
like
dumb.
Scores, something like that. Go check that out if you want. Just a little bit of a recap. Ty, what were you gonna say?
Okay, so the Central. I have 2 teams in the Central. Yeah. Damn. I really struggle with the National League.
Well, you are the guest. You know what I mean? You're the guest.
And,
so it's okay.
You know, look, I have a lot on my mind. Clearly, I didn't even remember the Braves won the World Series 3 years ago. God damn it. All right, the Brewers. Let's start with the Brewers. This is like super recency. Like,
okay.
Street Fighter.
Okay.
I mean, they've now beefed with like 5 teams this year. Now, maybe
okay.
Maybe it's like more like Ace Attorney than Street Fighter because most of their altercations have been like just arguments. But I mean, Abner Uribe literally threw hands with Jose Siri, so
not bad. Not bad. I like it.
I mean, the Brewers are one of those teams that you could just throw into that pile of like they're just there. They just exist.
Hey, they be going through it sometimes, man. I'm with you. I'm with you. My pick, not that great. My thinking was Kingdom Hearts. So
okay.
Really great at times. They've had their moments, but very convoluted and not as good as their record. And in the case of Kingdom Hearts, the sales and fan base size would have you believe. The Brewers are very consistently good every year and will never win a World Series because they don't spend. And for me, it's got to be something convoluted to make you want to be a Brewers fan. There's got to be something ridiculous to it. So that was my thinking. Again, I don't feel great about this one, but that was my thinking. What's the other team that you had in this division?
So the other team that I had was the Cardinals. And I gave them the Yakuza, like a Dragon series.
Okay.
It's called Like a Dragon. It used to be called Yakuza. This is really out of left field because the Cardinals are really boring and Yakuza is anything but that.
Yeah.
But the consistency is incredibly underappreciated. It's kind of formulaic at times, but more often than not, it works. I know right now it's not really working for the Cardinals, but like they've been consistently like just in the 2000s, the 2010s, like really good, really just consistently good. That's Yakuza to a T.
I like that.
Yeah.
My nominees: 2, Fire Emblem and Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
My thinking is basically Fire Emblem. If you're as big of a game nerd as me and Ty, every time they announce one of these things, you're like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
But it is good, and the people who like it love it. It is boringly good. That's what I think of with the.
To be fair, I really like Three Houses. Three Houses was a really good game. Yeah.
Look at you. At you. Shout out Three Houses. And then Monster Hunter, same thing. Like boring for people who aren't into it, but everyone else is like, hey, but it really is great. And we're all like, yeah, we know, but it is a little bit boring. So that's my kind of vibe. Fire Emblem or Monster Hunter, probably preferably the former, just because every time it's announced at an award show, I'm like, I know you have to do this.
Or like we get a Fire Emblem character in Smash.
Yeah, exactly.
Here we go. Yeah.
This is a boring announcement. I want my dream announcements. I want another Mario. I want another, whatever, another Smash Bros. But like, I'm also like, no offense to you guys though, because it really is great. And everyone who's into it, like they're a great team. Like they're a great organization. I know they're going through it right now, but overall they've been pretty great. So that was my thinking for that. So do I get the rest of the division now?
Yeah.
So, right?
You have the Pirates, you have the Reds, you have the Cubs.
All right, let's go with Pirates first because
Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Yes, Sea of Thieves. Monkey Island.
Monkey Island. One I thought of was Madden NFL. I kind of forgot why I put this down. I think I put it down because they low-key like just strip away what makes you like about them. Like every few years, like you'll have like your Andrew McCutcheon and then Pedro Alvarez and the Francisco Liriano years, and then just low-key like just they're really good at like shedding their team and like people not noticing and then be like, we're a year away from being a year away, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's where we're at. Basically, I'm just
we're working on the animations. Like next year, franchise mode is going to be the shit.
Exactly. And by the way, Pittsburgh's a pretty good sports market, pretty good sports town. You could do more if you want. The Penguins and Steelers are big. You could make the Pirates bigger. So that was my vibe. Sea of Thieves and then Monkey Island, just pirate theme. So that's what I was thinking. Again, Pirates stuff. I'd probably need more of a big Pirates fan to help me out.
Sure.
The Reds, Pac-Man, plain and simple.
Okay.
OG. One of the OGs of all time. You got Mario, you got Mega Man, you got Sonic, Pac-Man, but also, except for literally very recently, pretty irrelevant. You know what I mean? Like, everybody knows you. You have your moments. This is like you're irrelevant, but I mean that respectfully, because it could come back, and it does come back every now and then.
Yeah.
For example, Ellie De La Cruz, really big superstar. For Pac-Man, the Championship Edition and
Pac-Man
99.
Yeah,
like all those games when you're at a bar, sometimes at barcades, they have that 4-player one.
Yeah.
It comes out every now and then, but it's still mostly just an OG that every now and then pops up and can do some cool stuff. So that's what I was thinking on that.
Yeah, I like that.
And then lastly, for the Chicago Cubs, this is one that I had trouble with because it's an easy theme I was going for, which is just blah for a long time and then bam, out of nowhere. Like peaking later. Yakuza Like a Dragon.
Okay.
The series I thought of only because I feel like the newest one is the most famous. It got more famous as time went along.
Sure.
But for me, the real answer for me is Fortnite. Fortnite, for those who don't know, did not come out in like 2018. It did not. That game came out in like 2010 or something like that. I forgot when exactly, but I remember when it was announced, it was just some cooperative build and kill zombies game.
Yeah.
And then they added versus the world, the battle royale, and obviously became the biggest thing ever.
Yeah.
That's how I'm going with the Cubs. They were around, but not really super successful, and then exploded, and they won their first World Series in a long time. So for me, I'm going with Fortnite.
I have Fortnite on my list too. I think you'll like. I think you'll like my interpretation of that.
I assume it's going to be for the NL West. That's the last division we got, man.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Get into it. Let's save the Padres for last. You know, we started with my team. We'll finish with yours. Sound good? All right.
Sounds perfect. That's a good bookend. Well done.
So I'll do the Diamondbacks real quick. I didn't do the Rockies. I didn't do the Giants. I couldn't figure them out. Like the Rockies are another team where it's like, whatever. The Giants could also be kind of Yakuza, like a dragon. Like that could also fit for them a little bit. The Rockies are just like, who gives a shit?
I've got a good one for all of these, so I'm pumped. Let's do it.
Okay. So the Diamondbacks, I gave God of War, and this is very like recent. Like I couldn't think of a good one for them, but God of War kind of fits their 2 World Series runs. Like they were the God Slayers, especially last year, like taking down the Dodgers and Phillies. So that's kind of where my line of thinking was with that.
I like it. I like it. I'm going sort of like that. And the whole, like, you know, going out on the line thing is kind of what I'm going to go more into, which is that 2001 D-backs team, they spent a lot and crashed afterwards, but they did win. They had a good product. I'm going with, this is extremely insider, but for those who don't know, this is like an inception moment where I'm relating a baseball thing to a video game that also is related to baseball. It is Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning, a game from the studio that one Sir Kurt Schilling was in charge of. I'm not making this up. That game, low-key, pretty damn good, but they spent a whole crap ton of money on it, and they like owe Rhode Island millions, and the studio went absolutely defunct. D-backs kind of been irrelevant since the 2001 World Series. That's my thinking.
Okay. Do the Rockies and the Giants, get that out of the way, and then we'll do the Dodgers and the Padres.
Oh, man. Here we go. Rockies, similar to the A's.
Yeah. Trash
really
invasion?
Tough. Really tough. Trash invasion. Really tough. Don't have ownership that commits. Dick Montfort, a fool, obviously. How do you get rid of Nolan Arenado? Because he costs too much, and then pay for him? And then you get like no prospects in return, and then you sign Chris Bryant, a worse player, for a lot of money too. They don't know what they're doing. It's tough out here. It's like Dark Souls. Like, it's a tough game. But for whatever reason, the Colorado Rockies have a vibe. They are consistently up there in attendance, whatever they figured out. So while in front of you, the actual mechanics of everything is awful, the aesthetic and vibe is great. For me, I'm going with Cuphead. one of my favorite video games of all time. Cuphead, wow. Extremely hard, but you don't always get super mad because the vibe and the art style is immaculate. I just like to think that Rockies fans are like, yeah, whatever, man. Hey, let's go to the park, man. Yeah, let's go, man. Yeah, let's watch Charlie Blackmon get a stolen base or whatever. Yeah, we beat the Padre. Oh, that's kind of cool. So that's my vibe for the Rockies. Similar to the A's, except at least there's a nice vibe aesthetic to go along with it.
Sure. All right. And then the Giants.
My theme for this was low-key goated. That's my thing with this. The Giants won goddamn like 3 World Series titles in 4 years. Like it's kind of insane that they did that, and I genuinely don't think it gets talked about enough.
No.
While everyone talks about the Dodgers and the Braves.
Yeah, your Giants was insane.
Even your Giants was insane. So I'm going with low-key goated. I got a couple series for this. Ratchet and Clank. Low-key still going. My personal favorite video game series of all time. But I think more importantly, because it fits in with the 3, Max Payne. For those who are unfamiliar, those games bang, and the third one is extraordinarily underrated. Go look it up. It's worth watching a playthrough. The writing is impeccable.
That game is
really
sick.
sad.
The music is
but
sick.
It's cool. The music, it's like I don't know, man. Like that game is like the prequel to Cowboy Bebop. Like you know what I mean? Like that's
that game. Yeah, that game goes hard.
That game goes hard. So low-key goated series, the Max Payne series. And especially it gets forgotten about because of their other stuff. In the case of Remedy, people forget with other 2K titles that they've got out there, like Grand Theft Auto and stuff. So that's what I'm going with for the Giants.
I love that. That's awesome. That's a great
Thank
call.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I'm glad that I finally found someone who appreciates Max Payne 3 as much as I do.
Dude, I was watching a playthrough.
So sick.
The writing is incredible in that game.
Yeah.
Like actually wild that I don't fully know what the game's trying to necessarily say all the time. I don't know if that game's trying to just be like, yeah, Americans are dumb as shit. Like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of takeaways from that game. It is not the bro, like, it's got bro sick, like, moments. You know what I mean? Like, with the bullet time and slow motion shooting. Yeah. But the story of that game is not a vibe. Not whatsoever. It is brutal. Everything goes wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, it's brutal.
Literally
it's
everything.
Brutal. I love that game.
It's fantastic. And please, someone remaster it. I need to play it again on modern consoles.
Well, they are remastering, or they're remaking.
They're remaking one, yeah. So
they're making 1 and 2.
Max
they're like
Payne
making it one game, I think.
I think so, yeah. It's something crazy like that. Yeah. Max Payne truthers, we're gonna have our moment, I promise you.
Oh yeah.
But now, Dodgers Padres.
All right. So the Dodgers, Fortnite.
Okay.
If you think of a character, if you think of a big property, it's probably in Fortnite. And if you think of a good baseball player, there's a decent shot they're a Los Angeles Dodger. And like Fortnite, you'll like this, Javi. The Dodgers also peaked in 2019 and 2020.
Not bad. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
I've got 2 nominees for the Los Angeles Dodgers, my bitter rival. Number 1, Fall Guys. Really cute and hilarious to watch people fail. What is more fun than the Dodgers? The people, the fan base. Now, they're not the worst fan base in the sport by far.
Sure.
But they love acting like they run shit. They love it. And I'm like, well, the Royals run shit, if we're being honest. Well, they won a World Series. Congrats. And speaking of that one World Series, my other nominee, Epic Mickey.
Yeah. I knew exactly where you were going with that. Yeah.
Epic Mickey, Mickey Mouse ring, kind of self-explanatory. Yeah. Nothing new.
Could also be Kingdom Hearts.
Could also be Kingdom Hearts, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll go with Epic Mickey or Fall Guys. I can't decide which one.
All right. Do you want me to do the Padres first? Or should you?
I think you should.
All right, because you're going to have to defend their honor.
Let's do it. I'm ready. I'm always ready.
Javi, are you familiar with a newer free-to-play game called Multiverses?
Oh, no. Oh, no! Oh, no! It's so good! This is so good!
For those that don't know, Multiverses is a Warner Brothers licensed game that has a bunch of Warner Brothers characters in it. It's a fighting game. It's like Smash Bros. But Multiverse, it's not Smash. It's not Fortnite. It has all these crazy crossovers, big name players. You look at the roster and you go, yeah, that's fun. That's interesting. But then you play it. And I'll leave it at that. Sorry, Javi.
I screamed because I knew you cooked. That's good. You know what I mean? Like, it's good. It's better than mine, frankly. I can't defend it too much. I think you could argue a lot of those fighting games of that ilk, Nicktoons Battle, whatever it's called.
Yeah, I also thought of that.
Nicktoons Battle, Brawlhalla, the PlayStation All-Stars, if anyone remembers that. Just on the surface, all these crossovers, all these legendary characters and players, but it doesn't quite hit the same the way that like Smash Brothers and every other fighting game does. Not bad, definitely not bad.
Sure.
But man, does it leave a lot to be desired. Damn it. That's why I screamed. I knew right when you said it, I was like, oh, he got it. He got it. That's good. My nominee for the San Diego Padres. Tatis, he's right here with me. My nominee for the San Diego Padres is Kirby's Dream Land.
Okay.
You know why? Because Kirby loves absorbing everybody else. We just trade and sign. They have never, ever had anyone homegrown outside sort of maybe Tatis, if you think about it. I don't count trades for 17-year-olds as the same thing.
The other one, out of the park baseball, because AJ Preller's just basically playing a GM sum.
Yeah. No, it's totally fair. It's a I'm convinced he's playing backyard baseball sometimes with the decisions he makes, but
yeah.
I mean, that was my thing. That's what the Padres love to do. They love to absorb every team's best player. They're currently probably trying to trade for your best player right now. And what's funny is it actually kind of works. And the same thing for Kirby. The difference is, unlike Kirby, they aren't necessarily all powerful. I think you cooked more with yours, but even still, Ty, that was great. You did not disappoint. I was so sad when you said it. I knew I was finished. I was on the defense table. They were throwing the allegations at me. They said, "Did you call the cold red?" And I said, "Yeah, I did. Yeah, that was correct." Shout out to you, good man. Dude, that one hurt so much because of how good it was. That was really tough. I gave you Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3, and this is how you repay me.
This is how I repay you. To be fair, we didn't know each other's lists beforehand.
We did not.
Maybe I would have been nicer because I am a big Tony Hawk guy. So that was pretty cool. Shout out to Superman by Goldfinger.
Man, of course.
Here I am, going older all the time.
God, that destroyed me.
Yeah.
Somehow not the only thing that broke my confidence this week. But Ty, this has been an absolute blast. Let's run through our lists one more time.
Sure.
Starting with the American League West. We'll just go back and forth. For me, starting with the Mariners, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3, Angels Super Mario Sunshine, Astros Braid, A's Dark Souls 2, and then the Rangers Assassin's Creed. What were yours?
Mariners Kingdom Hearts, Rangers Doom, Athletics, Trash Invasion. Whatever the fuck that is. Angels, the current state of the original Modern Warfare 2, and the Astros Roblox.
Well done. American League Central, for the Guardians, I had Custer's Revenge, Tigers, Gran Turismo, Twins, Sonic as a whole, White Sox, Suicide Squad, Killed the Justice League, and the Royals, Mirror's Edge.
Yeah. I only had the White Sox in this division, so I gave them Doom because they are quite literally doomed.
For the American League East, for the Yankees, I had the Call of Duty franchise, Baltimore Orioles, Earthbound, Red Sox, Saints Row, Rays, Peggle, and the Blue Jays, Battlefield.
Yeah. I didn't have one for the Orioles, but I had Mario for the Yankees, which Javi loved. Big fan of that one. Halo for the Red Sox. Assassin's Creed for the Blue Jays, which... Was that the best one? That seemed to get the biggest pop out of you.
Which one?
Assassin's Creed for the Blue Jays.
No, yeah, it was that and Padres, honestly, between those two. The Assassin's Creed for Blue Jays was way too good. I was like offended. That was so good.
Dark Souls for the Rays.
National League East, the Mets. I had a combination of a bunch of just games that I don't think are that bad, but everyone freaks out about them. Mass Effect 3, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet versions, and Batman Arkham Origins. Braves, I had Yoshi's Island because the Braves fans can't stop crying. The Phillies, Conquer's Bad Fur Day with the help of Ty. Marlins, just Telltale games as a whole, all of them. And then the Nationals, Helldivers, too.
Love it. Mets, that Unreal Engine 5 demo that they use to just show off the engine. Super Smash Bros for the Phillies. I didn't have one for the Marlins, Braves, and Nationals, but for the Marlins, I'll just like I did have some games under consideration for the Marlins, like Katamari.
Okay. I mean, the colors are somewhat there.
Samba de Amigo, but I couldn't like put it all together. So, yeah. And then like, yeah, the Braves, who again forgot that they won a World Series like 3 years ago. Shout out to Jorge Soler. Shout out to Eddie Rosario. Shout out to Adam Duvall as well. Yeah.
Well done.
I didn't have anything for them, but I did like give them later on like Grand Theft Auto or Red Dead Redemption.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
NL Central, Cardinals, I had Fire Emblem. Brewers, Kingdom Hearts, kind of my worst one. Reds, Pac-Man. Pirates, every pirate themed game ever, and then maybe the Madden NFL franchise somehow, and then Cubs, Fortnite.
Right. I did the Like a Dragon series for the Cardinals because of the consistency of that series. Street Fighter for the Brewers because they are just trying to fight everyone this year. Didn't have one for the Pirates, Reds, or the Cubs, but I really liked Pac-Man call for the Reds. Thought that was really good. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And then lastly, the National League West. I think we both cooked. We had a lot of like cook moments. This is good. I gotta have a lot of good clips for social media. This is great. For me, the San Francisco Giants, I had the Max Payne series, Arizona Diamondbacks, Kingdoms of Amalur, Reckoning, the Rockies, Cuphead.
That's so fucking random.
I know. The Dodgers. I still can't decide between Fall Guys and Epic Mickey. I'll decide on that later because they're both really funny. Honestly, I should go Epic Mickey, right? It's 10 times funnier, right? I feel like no one will even need an explanation. So we'll go Epic Mickey, and then the Padres, Kirby's Dream Land.
So I did God of War for the Diamondbacks. Didn't have one for the Giants or the Rockies. And then I did Fortnite for the Dodgers. And of course, my magnum opus, Multiverses for the Padres.
It was tough, but folks, we made it anyway. Just like life, it could be tough sometimes, but we push through always. Ty, it has been a blast having you on the show. Love to have you on another time, but
for sure.
Do you have anything you'd like to plug or say for the good people out there?
Check out the Locked On Mariners podcast. It's on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day, folks.
He really went like full robot on that one. That was that was really automatic. It's like you pressed something in your head and you were like, okay, say it.
I'm a company man. What can I say?
Absolutely. Speaking of companies. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Check it out on YouTube, on the podcast platforms. You can follow me at Ty Dane Gonzalez on Twitter. That's it.
Well said. You can follow me on Twitter at Javipeno, Javiipeno, where I occasionally tweet about video games, among other things, mostly baseball. You can also check out this show wherever you get your podcasts from. Now available on Apple. Took long enough. I mean, come on, Apple. What are you doing around here? Just what took you so long? But it's available there. Also on YouTube. You can also check out the show on Instagram at Baseball vs. World and Twitter at the same handle. And go check out Just Baseball, a lovely, lovely, lovely website that I occasionally write for, because I write occasionally. Everybody, that is about it for today's show. Baseball versus the world. The show about how baseball relates to the rest of the world and the rest of the world relates to baseball. It has been a blast as always. Until next time, stay golden and stay loving the old baseball. You know what I mean? Let's go.